Guten Moed. This is Gemara in Sotah, Daf Yod. This is the Daf for Shabbos' Daf. Baruch Hashem, at least we got two up before Yantif. We're going to get up Shabbos' and hopefully get up through Chol HaMoed in due time. So we're holding on Testament Beis. We're about 10 lines from the bottom. The first one line is Vayivka Elokim es hamachtish asher balechi. And Hashem split open the lachtish, the hollow that was in, the lechi that was in the jawbone. And we're continuing the story of Shimshon. Yes, each detail of the Gemara, there are fascinating and numerous mefarshim. We could spend tons of time discussing it, but at least let's understand, as always, at least to get the simple explanation. So Hashem split open this hollow that was in the jawbone, and what happened? Out came water. All of a sudden, Shimshon HaGibar had what to drink. Amar Rav Yitzchak Devei Reb Ami, who Eva ledavar tameh. He was evil. He desired something tameh, and therefore lefikach nitloi chayav b'davar tameh. Therefore, his life was dependent upon a davar tameh, and therefore this donkey gave out water from its jawbone so that he would have what to drink and he would not perish. V'atochel ruach Hashem, and the psukim continue that the ruach Hashem, the spirit of Hashem, was loud in the different machanais. What does this mean? That the nevuah of Yaakov Avinu was fulfilled. As the pasuk says, Yida Nachash Ale Derech. As the pasuk says that Nachash, we just lost the page. Let's get it back. There it is. That the Nachash, that the snake will be, the dun will be like a snake on the road. Dun nachash ale derech lepamoy b'machane dun. And the pasuk continues that by Shimshon there was a pa'amon, a sound like a bell in the camp of Dan, fulfilling the nevuah of Yaakov Avinu. 4 lines from the bottom. From here we learn out that the Shechina, Hashem's divine presence, rang before Shimshon like a bell. Wherever he went, escorting him, Sarah ve'Eshtal, Shnei Harim Gedalim. What was his Sarah and Eshtal? What was his voice of Sarah and Eshtal? These were 2 mountains, are you? And what did Shimshon HaGibar do with them? V'akran Shimshon v'tachanan zebazeh. He uprooted these 2 mountains and he ground the mountains together one with another. The Pesukah continue, V'yachal Ishias Yisrael. And the Malach told Shimshon, this is before Shimshon was born, that Shimshon is going to save Klal Yisrael. Amar Rav Cham Rav Chanina comes like Rav Cham Rav Chanina, and he teaches us Huchal Shvuasai Shal Avimelech. What do we learn from over here? That the Shvua of Avimelech that he made to the Pelishtim many years before was Chal with this Shvua. We're having camera issues, so let's just keep myself on the right side of the page. Okay. Huchal shvuasai shel Avimelech. What's the shvua of Avimelech that was chal? Tichsev, as the pasuk says, ve'im tishaker. Im tishaker li ulenini ulenichbi. Says the pasuk that you will not deal with sheker with me, with my son, with my grandsons. But since the Pelishtim, they themselves did not keep to their end of the promise, therefore, Shimshon was not either mechuyev to do the same. Vayigdal anar, and the now referring to Shimshon grew up. Vayivarcheu Hashem, and Hashem blessed him. B'ma baruchu, with what? With Shimshon HaGibar. With what was he blessed? Explains the Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav shebarachai ba'amasa. He was blessed with his amo, with his male. Amma amasa kibnei Adam. The size of his amma, the size of his aver was like regular people, but his zaroi kenachol shaitif, but the zera, the seed, which is reminiscent of his desires, was burning like, rushing like a stream. Vayikra Shimshon el Hashem, and Shimshon calls out to Hashem, Vayomer Hashem Elokim, Zachreni navchazkini nachabam azeh, remember me this time, V'anakma nekamachas, and perform for me one Nekama mishtei eina plishtim, and I will have nekama from one of the eyes of the Pelishtim. Amar Rav, what do we learn from here? Amar Shimshon Le'ekadosh Baruch Hu. Rebaina Ishalayla. Zachar li, remember me, Yasim B'shtayim Shana, the 22 years, Shaftani is Israel, that I judge Klal Yisrael, V'lamarti lechem me'amha verli makom mimakom l'makom, and I never imposed my will on any of the people. I never asked anyone to move my stake from one place to the next. So asks Shimshon Agibar of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's chos, that he should help him. Now exactly what this means, because in the previous psukim we saw that the reason Shimshon's eye was gorged by the Pelishtim was due to an Avera that he did. Here it sounds like it was something good. The Mefarshim get involved. And 4 lines to the Y lines continues the Gemara, V'yelch Shimshon v'yelched shalosh me'ois shu'alim. Shimshon, when he captured 300 shu'alim, 300 foxes, Maishna shu'alim, why foxes? And he tied fires to their tails, and thereby he burnt down the fields of the Pelishtim. Amar of Evai, Bar Negdim Rechei Barav Amar Shimshon, Yavai Misha Chazila HaChayrav. Let the animal that goes backwards when a fox is scared, it doesn't turn around and run. It retreats backwards. And they should be the vehicle to pay back the Pelishtim that they were chayzer in their shvuah. Tanya, we learned in a brayso on the first wide line, Amar Rav Shimon HaChasid, says Rav Shimon HaChasid, Bein Kseifav Shel Shimon Shimshon Amma, between the shoulders of Shimshon HaGibar, were 60 Amma Yisaya. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, V'yishkav Shimshon Achati Alayla, V'yakab Achati Alayla, got about midnight, V'yachzor B'dlosi Shayir, and he grabbed the doors of the 2 ends of the city, V'shtei HaMezuzos, V'yisim Esabriach, and he placed the doors on his shoulders. And we have a tradition, that the doors of the Aza gate were no less than 60 amos. This is the width of the shoulders of Shimshon HaGibar, and that's how he was able to uproot the 2 doors from the 2 sides of the town. And the Pesukim continue on the 3rd Y line. Shimshon is captured and he's placed into jail. What does the word tchina mean? Means an avera of achinu omer. Simply the Pasuk says, Titan lachar ishtay malami. What do we learn from here? All the Pelishtim brought their wives to the jail, so they should become pregnant from him, from Shimshon HaGibar, Rachmana litzlan. Now, what exactly does this mean? Does this actually mean that Shimshon HaGibar was the father for all these Pelishtim children? So many Mefarshim say no. It means that the woman just wanted to see his strength, as the sight that a woman sees before she's with her husband affects the child, and wanted to see someone of such incredible magnitude, such incredible strength, and thereby part that to the children. Amar Papa, I know Damri Ichi Kami Deshasi Chamra Kami Kama Deshasi Chamra. Before a wine drinker bring wine, Kamara Fuka Garidaya Duvlaya. Before a gardener bring a basket of vegetables. So since Shimshon, part of the Avera that he did was with the Pelishtim woman, so too he was punished in a similar way. V'amar Rav Yechon continues the Gemara, Kol HaMezana Ishtay, Mezanen is a law of any man who is Mezana, that cheats on his wife is as well Mezana, Shenemar, Im Nifta Libi al Isha, V'al Pesach Rei V'al Pesach Rei Aravti. His heart was seduced, then what? He's laying at his neighbor's door. Except the pasuk says, "Titchan lachar ishtay v'aleh yichra'un acharoyin," and then the strangers are going to come to his wife. Anodamri inchi iu bei kari. He sends the husband with the big pumpkin, his son, his wife bei butzani with the small pumpkins. Again, that the same aver that he does, she eventually does as well. Shimshon HaGibar dan de Klal Yisrael, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shnemar dan Yadin Amai, dan Yadin Amai Ka'achad, as the pasuk says, V'goymer, Dan will judge his people. This is referred to Shimshon, who was from the Shevet of Dan. V'amar Rav Yechon Shimshon Shal Shemai, Shemai HaKadosh Baruch Hu Nikra, Shimshon was called by the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, Ki shemesh u'magin Hashem Elokim, for a shemesh, a wall, and a shield is Hashem. So the word shemesh refers over here to Shimshon. Al-me'ata lo yimchav. That's true, then you shouldn't be allowed to erase this Pasuk if it's referring to Shem Hashem. Al-me'in, shemesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu means it's similar to the name of Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu megin al kol ha'olam, kulay av Shimshon megin b'dairai shel Yisrael. And of course, kulay, this is part of the confusion with Shimshon HaGibar, that on one hand we see how incredible he was, how he's an incredible shayfet, how he's saving Klal Yisrael, he's judging appropriately as the Shem Vashem. On the other hand, we saw that he was caught up in certain Aveiros. And of course, this is some of the difficulty when learning through Nach. Continues the Gemara that Bilam was lame in one of his feet. As the Pasuk says that Bilam went Shefi limping. Shimshon chigar b'shtei raglav haya shenemar shfifain alei arach. That he was shfifain refers to limping on its path. Continues the Gemara, Tanarabana, at the two dots, about 20 lines into the white lines. First one line is raglav. There were 5 people that were created in a dogma, a similarity. And all those 5 people, with the greatness that they had that resembled the Kadosh Baruch Hu, that is precisely where their downfall came. Shimshon was Bekoyach with his strength, Shaul b'tavar with his neck, Avshalom b'seir with his hair, Sitkio be'einav and Asa be'raglov. So Shimshon bekoyach d'chsev yasar koyach me'olav, that he lost his strength. Shaul b'tavarei d'chsev yikach Shaul as a cherev, that he took the sword. V'yipal aleh, and he fell on it on his neck. Avshalom b'sayra kedabinu l'meimar, come on, as we already saw. Sitkio be'einav. Shidkiyahu, excuse me, come on, we're going to say over the story of Avshalom. We haven't said it yet. Sidkiyahu with his eyes, Iver, excuse me, he was blind. Asa baraglav, the slave rak aleisik nasay cholas raglav, that his feet became sick at his old age. Amar Yehuda Amar Rav, shachzasay padagra, that he had his disease in his feet. Amar Mar Zutra prayed to Rav Nachman echidami padagra. What is this disease of padagra? Amar le kemachat bebasar chay. It's like a needle in a raw flesh, and this is some form of, they explain, is gout. Mino yada. How did Rav Nachman know this disease called padagra? This sound familiar. We had a similar lashon a few days ago. Some say it's because he himself had this disease. Rav Nachman heard from his Rebbe. That no, Rav Nachman, that through his nevuah, through his ruach hakodesh, that was where he knew was this disease of padagra was. We continue. Darash Rava Darash Iman Enesh Asa. Why was Asa punished? Mimnei Asa Angaria b'Talmidei Chachamim, because he made Talmidei Chachamim Angaria go into the service, go into army. Shenemar. But Melech Asa Ishmias Kol Yehuda Einaki Mai Einaki Ravidam Rava Filu Chasan B'Chadra Yivechala Mechupasa, and this was what Asa unfortunately did, and that is what led to his downfall. Continues the Gemara, about 20 lines to the bottom. First word on the line is Ksiv, continuing darshaning about Shimshon HaGibar. Vayered Shimshon Timnasa. Shimshon went Timnasa, Ksiv Yini Chamicha, Oila Timnasa, and continues the pasuk, Chamich, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah. So says the Gemara, what's going on over here? I'm Rav Lazar. Pshat number 1, Shimshon Shenizganina Ba, Ksiv Ba Yerida. Shimshon, who was, this was the place of Genai, this was the place he was denigrated in Timnah. Therefore it says Yerida, Yehuda Shenis Alo Baksibe Aliyah. The problem here is, was Timnah a place of elevation or a place in a valley? On one hand it says he was Yerid, he went down. The other place says he went up. So one shot is, it's just referring to the fact that he was Miskana there. Shmuel Bar Nachmani Amar Shtei Timnah Netzav. There were two of them, Chad B'Yerida, Chad B'Aliyah. Two different places, and therefore the Psukim use different words to refer to them. Rav Papa Amar Chad Timnah, is really only one. Doesn't mean Ha'giza Yehuda Vasa Ha'giza Aliyah. It was in the middle of a mountain. So if you're coming from the bottom of the mountain, you're being Yerid, top of the mountain, you're being Oila, top of the mountain, you're being Yerid. Kigain, Vardonia Bebari Veshuki, Dinarash, different places that also are in the middle of a mountain. Therefore, we can refer to them that you're going down or that you're going up. So now the Gemara continues. In classical, I got it to form Going from tangent to tangent, agav to agav. Now we go into the story of Yehuda and Tamar. Vatisha Pesach Einayim. Tamar sat by the Pesach Einayim, by the crossroad. Amar Lachzadjum Lami Shalcha V'Yashallah B'Pischa Shel Avram Avinu. She had the entranceway of Avram Avinu. Makam Shekol Einav Zayfis, the right place that everyone was able to see. Rachanan Amar Makam Shu Shemai Einayim. No, the place was called Einayim. Chenu Eimer Tapoyach V'Einayim. Rav Shema Bar Nachmani Amar third Pshat Shenas Einayim Lidvareha Kishetava, that she placed her eyes. That she gave, they gave literally eyes to her words, color to her words, when Yehuda was Tava, when Yehuda asked her to do the Aveira. Amar La, Yehuda says to her, Shema Nachrasat, maybe you're a Gaya. Amar Le, she responds, Giris, I was a Ger, Ani. Shema Ishes Israt, so Yehuda says, wait, maybe you're married, so I can't be together with you. Amar Le, she responds, Penuya, Ani, no, I'm single. Shema Kibel B'chavicha Kedushin, so Yehuda says, wait, maybe your father married you off, so I can't be with you. Amar Le, she responds, Yisaymani, I don't have a father. Shema Tameat, maybe you're Tameh. Amar La Tahir Ani. And that was the story of Yehuda and Tamar. And 4 lines at the bottom. Now that we mentioned Avram Avinu, we talk about Avram. Vita Isha Be'er Shavam Reish Lakim Lamisha Asa Pardes. He made an orchard and he planted all different types of delicacies there. Yehuda Bar Nachmani Chadam Pardes, the actual orchard. Chadam Pundik was in Bishal Mandam Pardes. Haidos Vayita that he planted trees. Lamandam Pundik my Vayita Kedachse Vayita Aloya Padnoi Vikashem B'Shem Hashem Kel Olam. So we see that the word Vayita could also be that he established, and in Amrei Shlakish Al Tigri Vayikra. Don't read Vayikra. 1 second, we ran through a stop sign over there. New pasuk says the Gemara. Vayikra b'shem Hashem, and he called in the name of Hashem. Kel Elam. Amrei Shlakish Al Tikri Vayikra. Ella Vayakriya. Rather, we have to read the pasuk as he caused it to be called. Melamed, as we're on top of Yud Amid Beis. What exactly does this mean? Says the Gemara that he caused Avram Avinu, caused it to be called Sheikri Avram Avinu Lishmoish al Kadosh Baruch Hu Bepekol Oivir V'Shav. Avram Avinu managed to make the shame of Hashem be called by all the people. Ketzad Lach Hashach L'Vashasei, after everyone ate and drank, Amdu LeBaruch Hu, they got up to They got up to bless whom? Avram Avinu, because he gave them such a beautiful meal. Amr Lahem, Avram said, V'chim Mishaliach Chaltem, ye from me? Mishal Kei Olam Achaltem, ye from Hashem's world. Haidu v'shivcho yibaruch l'misha Amar v'ya Olam, and he made everyone praise and realized that there was a God. And now we go back, after a slight digression to Avram Avinu, now we go back to the first digression, which was Yehuda and Tamar. 6 lines down, Yehuda v'yachshav l'zayna. So Yehuda sees Tamar and he thinks she's a zayna, ki kissa paneh, because she covered her face. Says the Gemara, the opposite, a zayna doesn't cover, she reveals. She's the kissa paneh, yachshav l'zayna, Amar Rav Elazar, she kissa paneh, b'beis chamiyah. No. Because she always covered her face in her father-in-law in Yehuda's household, now Yehuda didn't recognize her. Damar Shmamar Nachmanim Yedison Kokal, she Sanua Beis Chamia, Zaychav Yasan Malachim and Avim, any kala, any girl who is Sanua Madis in her father-in-law's house, she is Zaycha, that kings and Avim, prophets come from her, Minal and Mitamar. Nevi'im, they say that what happened, Chazan Yishai ben Amatz. Melachim, from David, mi David. So we see that Tamar, because she was Sanua, Beis Aviyah, she was Zaycha that Nevi'im and kings came from Amar of Levi Davers and Messiahs Biadenu. Excuse me. This is a Messiah. Almost Vamatzia Achamav Amatz and Amach were brothers, and like since Amatzia came from Tamar, so too Amatz as well did. Continues the Gemara. What happened with Tamar? Tamar says she was taken out to be killed. He mutsu'es mi bayile. Says the Gemara should have said she was mitsu'es, which means that she was taken out. This was after Tamar was found that she was mizanas. They took her out to be killed, the death sentence. So to say that she was taken out, Tamar of Lazalach Shanim says Simane bas Samuel v'richlikon. That what happened, the simanim, the sign that Tamar took from Yehuda to eventually show that it was from him. So then the malach Samuel, the samach mem, the Rasha, the Satan, came and distance them from her, so she wouldn't be able to send these signs to Yehuda. But Gavriel, Vikirva, and the wonderful angel Gavriel came and made these signs closer to Tamar, so she could send it to Yehuda. Yoinas ilim rechakim leDavid michtam. Amar Rav Yechon Mishashin Esrachnu Simanim Naasis Ki Yoina. At the moment that, what does it mean, the Yoina over here? Mishashin Esrachnu Simanim, for the time that the Simanim were far from her Naasis Ki Yoini Lemes. She was like silent. She was like a dove that was an elim. She had nothing to say. LeDavid michtam. She hatzim imenu David. The David HaMelech came from her. Sheyamach v'tam. La'akol, the David HaMelech was perfect in all his ways. Davar acher, another b'sham michtam. Sheisa mechtai Tama. What is this referred to? Makosei Tama, that David HaMelech was born complete. Shenaylik Shumal, he was born mal Davar Acher. Mechtai Kshev Katanusa Yiktin Atzmai Eitzel Misha Gadol Mimenu Lilmai Taira. Just like David HaMelech, when he was young, made himself small to learn Torah from someone that was greater than him. Kach Begadlusai. So too, when he became, so too did his greatness become the same, that he became great. So back to the story with Tamar, where 10 lines to the white lines, that what happened? She sends these signs to Chamia, to her father-in-law, to Yehuda, Lemar, saying, to whoever these signs, this signet ring belongs to, this is who impregnated me. Why did Tamar just say it's from you, Yehuda? Amar Rav Zitra bar Tavi, Amar Rav, Amri la Amar Rav Chana bar Bizna, Amar Rav Shimon Chasida, Amri la Amar Rav Yechon Shimon ben Yochai. The famous statement, you know why Tamar didn't say it's from you? Noyach loy la'adam. It's better sheyapel atzmo to give shana to throw yourself into the fiery furnace. And not embarrass someone. And we learn this out, of course, Minalin from who? Says the Gemara, 3 lines from the medium-sized lines, me Tamar. We learn this out from Tamar, that she didn't say that Yehuda, you were the one. No, she said whoever this was, never embarrassing the Yehuda, who was the king. Haker, no. Continues the psukim that what happens? She says, please recognize. She didn't say it's from you, Yehuda, but she says, look at these items, recognize who they're from. Behaker, biyosher, behaker. With the word haker, biser la'aviv. Yehuda informed Yaakov Avinu that Yosef was going to be killed. Bahaker bisrua. So too with Haker, they informed Yehuda of the aver that he did. Bahaker biser Haker navaktenis bincha. Yehuda told Yaakov Avinu, do you not recognize his ksainas, his special clothing of your son Yosef Atzadik? He Bahaker bisrua Haker no lemi no Haker no lemi. Excuse me. No, continues the pasuk of the first medium-sized line. You said, please. Eina lasha b'akasha. Amrla b'akasha v'mcha, making a bakasha from you. Haker panai. Haker pinei b'reicha. Recognize your creator. V'altali meinayich mimeni. And do not conceal your eyes. Tamar making a final request, hoping that Yehuda is going to admit to the Avera that he did. And what happens in the second medium line, Vayakir Yehuda, she recognized the Imr Sadka Mimeni. She is right. It's from me. Hainu, this is from here we learn now. Tamar Rav Chana bar Biznam Rav Shimon Chasida. Yosef shekidesh Shem Shemayim b'Seiser. Yosef Atzadik, in which he sanctified, he was Mekadesh the Shem Hashem in private. He got an extra name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. D'chsev, Eidus b'Yosef Shemai. Yehuda shekidesh Shem Shemayim b'Farhesia. So Echavenikar Kulay al Shemai HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kimish HaHaida. V'amar Sadka Mimeni. Once Yehuda admitted, and he said it's true, it's from me. Atabaska v'amar Ata Yisalta Tamar Shnei Banea Min Ha'ar Chayecha Shani Matzah B'Zchuscha Gimel Mi Banecha. 3 of your children, Yehuda, Yehuda, are going to be saved min ha'ar. Who are these 3 people saved from the fire? Of course, Chanani, Mishal, Vazariah. Sadka mimeni mina yada. Says the Gemara. So Yehuda says, Sadka mimeni. Yehuda says, she's right, it's from me. Mina yada. How do you know that the child, he can know that these were his signs, but how do you know that these children being born from Tamar were indeed from him? Maybe Tamar was mizana with someone else. Yatsa baskal v'amr mimeni yatsa. Mimeni yatsa that it kivushim, that from me this must have come. Continues the psukim, 2 lines to the wide lines, that Yehuda did not stop from knowing her. Amar Shmuel Sabach Hamud Rav Shmuel Barami Mishmedi Rav Shmuel Barami Kivashiyada Shavla Pasik Mimena. Once Yehuda realized that it was indeed from himself, he married Tamar. Ksevachav leYosef Oladata Ksevasam Kol Gadol V'lo Yosef. That Yehuda took Tamar, married her, and stayed with her. We continue on the first wide line, back to the stories, as we continue in classical Agadah form, getting into another similar story. How is this similar? It's going to be another Mida Keneged Mida like we saw. Avshalom Nitkau B'Sayrei V'Chulu, that Avshalom we saw quoted in Amud Aleph. He was glorified, his hair was like a Kadosh Baruch Hu, so he was hidden in his hair. Tana Rabban Avshalom B'Sayrei Marad. He rebelled with his hair. There was no one as beautiful as Avshalom. Ubegachloi as Roishai. Vaya miketz yamim liyamim asher yagalchu ki chaved love, that he would shave his hair once a year. Avshalom was another olam, so he would shave his head once a year. V'gilcha v'shikol esar roishay mesayim shkolim. You know how heavy his hair was? It was like 200 shkolim worth. Bevin hamelech. Tana, we learned in a Mishnah. Evin Anshe Tveria Anshe Spar Shaikluba knows a different weight that they used. That's how heavy his hair was. Lafikach, therefore, in the fourth white line, Nitla B'Saira, because he was overly obsessive with his hair, whatever that means in his level. Therefore, he was hung by his hair. Shnemar Vikra Avshalom of Nei Avdei David Avshalom Reichav Al Pered. Avshalom is riding on the camel. Asher Tachtav Oiver. Vayava Yapered, Tacha Sheva Chayila Agadela. V'echaz Roisha Be'ela, and his hair comes caught in the branches. Vayutem Bein HaShemayim Min HaAretz. Vapered Asher Tachtav Avar Shakal Safsira. And what happens? Baal Lemifskei. So he takes out his sword and he's trying to cut himself free. Tanav Rishma Ba'isa Shah. At that moment, Nivka Shal Mitachtav, the Gehenim opened up underneath him, and therefore he couldn't cut his hair free. And that is where he's eventually killed. And we're going to conclude today with how David HaMelech responds to the news of the death of Avshalom. V'yirgaz HaMelech v'ya'al al Elisa Asar. That David HaMelech is trembling, and he goes up to the upper chambers, Vayivke, and he cries, V'chayamar, and he says, B'lechtoi b'ni Avshalom, b'ni Avshalom, mi'eten moisi ani tachtecha, Avshalom, b'ni, v'hamelech, la'at, es panav, v'yizkek melech, kol gadol, b'ni Avshalom, b'ni. So what do we see? We see how many times when David HaMelech is crying over his son Avshalom's death, he says, Hani tamne b'ni lama. He said the word b'ni 8 times. Why? Shiva da'askai, Shiva mayredi, mitari ganim. 7 times David HaMelech is bringing up Avshalom for the 7 levels of Gehanim V'edoch, and the 8th, Ikadar Midikarev, Reshet Legabe Gufe. Some say Avshalom's head was brought near his body, V'ikadamri, and some say, Taise Lama Dasi, that Avshalom was brought into Oilam Haba, with the 8th mention from David HaMelech of the word Bini. And actually, let's just finish up the story of Avshalom. 2 lines to the bottom of Avshalom. Avshalom took and he built a monument for himself in his lifetime. What does he mean he took? He took a bad purchase. He made a not smart decision by making this monument. Continues the pasuk as Masefet Asher Be'emek HaMelech, the pillar that was in the valley of the king. Amar Rav Chanina Bar Papa Be'itza Amuka Shal Malka Shal Olam. What does this mean? That the entire story of Avshalom took place in the deep Eitzah of the king of the world. The Chsev, as the pasuk says in the top of Yud Aleph Amid Aleph, and he make him Alecha Ra Mi Beisecha. I'm going to raise evil. Hashem is talking to David HaMelech from your own household, and this is where he's being told that Avshalom, unfortunately, is going to meet his demise. Similarly, the pasuk says he sent him from Emek, the valley of Chavron. This means again the deep counsel of the Tzaddiks, referring to Avraham Avinu that was buried in Chavron. So we see similarly by us that it was the deep counsel of Kadosh Baruch Hu that David HaMelech is being told that Avshalom, his son, is going to unfortunately meet his demise. And we're going to pick up from Well, actually, no, excuse me, we're not going to pick up. One more word just to finish the story of Avshalom. Kamer Ainli Ben. What happened? Avshalom, why do you make a monument? What's going on over here? He said, I have no child. He had 3 children. Ubazach is one daughter. He didn't have a child that was fit for the Malchus, and that's why he made this monument. Rav Chisda Amar, Gemiri, we have Lach Moshe Kol Asar Tzvasel Chaveira, Ina Maniach Ben Liyarshav Iu Kali Lidi Oyav. תחסב ויאמר לעבד אמרו חלקס יויב על ידai ולא ישם סעירים לכו והציזו באש. Go light up the field with fire. V'atziz avdei Avshalom as a chalka be'esh. So what happened over here was that Avshalom, what happened is he did have a child, just wasn't fit for the kingdom. And we learned this out from this halach l'mishmisina, that if you burn the field of your friend, you're not going to have a son to inherit you. And Avshalom burned down the field of Yoav, and we see that the punishment was that Avshalom himself didn't have a child that's going to inherit him, that's going to take over the kingdom, the Malchus. We'll pick it up from the 2 dots the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya.